Hello, welcome to Three Crows Runes. My name is Jen. Let's do some rune readings. Today we are doing readings for, we're doing Pick a Sheep. Why are we doing Pick a Sheep? Because tomorrow is Imbolc where I am. It's Lughnasadh if you're in the southern hemisphere, but it's Imbolc here. And so what that is, and it can be for you even if you're in the southern hemisphere, it's about, I'm taking the aspect of the stirring of the seeds. So this is a time when we are going to be preparing, let me just get this straightened, where we're preparing for the things that we are going to work on and bring through when the time is right. But right now, we are just feeling that starting. And so we're going to work on preparing, sort of nourishing the seeds, and so that they will be ready to come forth when it is time to come forth. So to that end, we have lots of Imbolc related things going on in this reading session. We have sheep, obviously, for the sheep's milk. In fact, this one has a whole bunch of milk, which is very exciting. We have sheep, we have candles. You can't really see them, but there's candles on this fabric, and moths, but anyway, candles. And then we also have Carnelian runes, which we are reading from with the Elder Futhark on Carnelian, which of course is the fire element. So, pick a sheep. We have 2 sheep from the Tarot of the Magical Forest. We have the one that's doing temperance, and we have the one that's doing the stars. So card number 1 sheep is temperance, card number 4 sheep is the stars. Card number 2 is the sheep and blackberry, which is devotion from the Woodland Warden's Oracle deck. And then we have the Harvest Mother watches over me from the incredible Wild Kuan Yin Oracle deck, and she's the one that has the milk. Like, that's really exciting. That I went through every single deck I had looking for sheep, and this is literally all of them. And there were a couple more in the Wild Kuan Yin, and there's one other one in the Magical Forest, but really, like, not very many sheep. I think I was able to find more seahorses when I went looking for seahorses, and that's saying something, because you can't find seahorses either. My fault for being weird. Anyway, that's okay. So pick a sheep. I will put the timestamps in the description, and I will see you at the readings. Bye! Hello, sheep number 1 people. So we're going to start with this sheep. So we're going to put the sheep over here. And so this is temperance. For those of you who chose this sheep, very likely you are looking to find balance, which is going to be part of what you're doing to prepare for what you're bringing through. So this is, your seeds are stirring and you are nourishing them with the proper balance of things, so that when the time is right, you can actually work on them and bring them through and let them be. So let's get started with the runes. Let's get the runes down. I'm going to lay out the entire reading to begin with, and then I'll read it. It's going to be a half rack. I say half rack, for those of you who don't know, half rack is basically about half the Futhark. So if you don't know what the Futhark is, then that won't make any sense to you. The Futhark is 24 runes. It's the full alphabet of the ancient letters. D. And of course the Carnelian runes for the fire aspect of Imbolc. In this particular case, it is a fire festival and is associated with Brigid. And there we go. Your central issue, sheep number 1 people, is algaes, which is the rune of the elk. This is also the moose. It's known as, if you're in North America, it's a moose. If you're in Europe, it's an elk. It's basically the same animal. So it has to do with protection and support. This is one of the reasons that you're working on finding balance, is because you actually do feel quite supported in this. This is something you've already been expressing, which I'll get to in a second. But your central issue is definitely all about support, protection, feeling supported in what you are doing, and giving good support from all sides to this thing that you're going to be, that is currently stirring as seeds, but is going to be brought through when the time is right. Leading up to this, we have Ansus, which is the rune of communication, manifestation, and expression. And this is basically, you've basically been expressing this as something that you've been manifesting in the world, and now you're giving it the proper balance. You're giving it, you're giving it the watering and the attention and the sunlight and all of that, so that when it is time, you can bring this through. And right now what it is, it's all about support. What is going to help you? We have Hagalaz, which is the rune of the hailstorm. Now, this is often read as chaos and things that are out of your control, but in this particular context, especially in the helping line, it's basically nature. It's basically letting nature happen. So you're not forcing it. You're basically letting it grow as it will. I mean, it is seeds, so you don't go in and pull on the sprout. You basically let it happen as it will. So really, really focusing on letting nature happen. You're giving it all the support it needs. You're giving it the balance that it needs, but you're just going to let nature happen. And remind yourself, if you think you might have to pull on it, please don't do that. You're going to just let nature happen in this case. What isn't going to help is we have Thurizaz reversed. Thurizaz is the rune of the thorn, the giant, or the gateway. It is the challenge rune, but it is, and it always has to do with a challenge, but it is especially a challenge when it's reversed. It may also have to do with an inner challenge as well, but in the lower line for what isn't helping you, it does feel like a very, very, very difficult challenge. And this is because you've seen it from the beginning. Like, this is sort of thing like when you start something and it just feels like this huge project that's going to extend forward for a while, and you don't know how it's going to manifest, but you know that as long as you take, one step after the other, the next right step, eventually it will become. But when you're looking at it from the beginning, it's kind of like huge and daunting. And that's sort of where you're at, because you'd started expressing this, and right now you're in the stage of like watering it, bringing it balance and nourishment. But you can't actually see, because you're not actually a part of all of this. Like, it has to grow itself as well. So there is a sense of feeling like this is too big of a challenge and it might overwhelm you in terms of how difficult it might be. It also might have to do with like psychological challenges as well. Reversed often means inner. But yeah, that could drag you down if you let it, just worrying about, worrying about how it's possibly going to be done, whereas it's just like it's going to get done as long as you're taking the steps and nourishing it and doing all the right things and letting nature happen. So if that starts to worry you, bring yourself back up to, no, you know what, part of this is going to be very organic and alive, and I'm just going to let nature happen on this. Your next step on the path line and pinning the entire reading in the center is Rilo reversed. This is the journey rune. This has to do with it's riding, basically. It's moving forward. But it is reversed on the path line, and it's right in the middle. So it looks like there is going to be a point coming soon where you can wrap up the chapter. And this is probably like your spring coming up, the point where the preparation part is over. So you will soon be wrapping up the chapter where you were preparing it. What is going to help, and I think that's like the spring, so Ostara or the equinox. What is going to help at that point is just like step back, lift up your hands and just like step away from the cooking table. And basically, because we have Isa, which is the rune of ice, this has to do with standstill and stillness. It's the stillness through which clarity comes. And in continuation from letting nature happen, you're just going to basically, you've done all the prep, you've done all the support, you've done all the nourishment, you've kept the balance, you've basically prepared it the way it needs to. When it gets to be that time, you just step back. You step back from it and let it do its thing. Even if it doesn't look like it's doing its thing, it's like, okay, I've done what I can. I'm going to step back. I'm going to give it space to do the thing. And that's the best thing that you can possibly do at that point. What isn't going to help is you're going to be really worried about the results. You're going to be really worried about what's going to happen. We have Pertho, which is the rune of the lot box. This has to do with surprises and fate. In the lower line, it's an upright and positive rune in the negative spot. So it's worries about that thing. You're basically really worried about, okay, yes, I did all of this, but did I miss any steps? Was there anything that I put into this recipe that I shouldn't have or didn't put in that I should have? And it's kind of like whatever was in the box is in the box now, and we can't add anything to it. And let's see what gets revealed. We're worried about that. And that could make us frantic. That could make us sort of break down and do things we shouldn't, try to push things forward and try to mess with it. Don't do that. You don't have to do that. Just this is the point. You've done everything you could. You were very, very careful doing everything you could to put into this. So when the spring comes, it's going to be like, okay, step back. We're just going to let this happen. We're going to let we're already letting nature happen, but we're going to step back and be still. We're going to wrap up the chapter of the beginning. Your next step, and being still is going to be what does it, because you have to watch. You have to stand back and let it be. Your next step on the path line, we have Kaunaz, which is the rune of the torch or the fire. This is something that starts small like an ember and expands into a blaze. This tells me that you are going to see what you planted coming up. This is the seeds that you nourished, and you're going to see them. It's going to be like a little bit of time. It's not going to be immediately as soon as you step back, like magic or like movie magic or a cartoon. It's going to be like you're going to step back and you're going to keep an eye on it, and then you're going to start to see the seeds. You're going to start to see the sprouts coming up, and it's going to just grow and grow and grow. Hooray. So it's opening out, it's expanding, all that. What is going to help you is just be open to what is coming, because it's your time. You did all this work. And so now, after you've closed the chapter of the beginning part and where you were nourishing it, once it starts to come up, just basically you stand back, you let it happen. We have the blank rune. This has to do with, well, in the upper line here, it has to do with being open to things and just basically like allowing. And also there is always a read on the blank rune where you're connecting with the divine, whatever the divine is for you. So just sort of trusting in the thing that is bigger than you, the deep magic of these things that are going to come up. What isn't going to help is we have Gabo, which is the rune of the gift. This has to do with an exchange, and it's agreements, decisions, goals, and plans. It is kind of like you're going to feel like it's like the book said this was supposed to do this and this. It's like, just don't hold natural things to rigid book writing stuff. Things are going to, if something is very natural and being itself and like alive in whatever way that it's alive, it's going to happen in its own way. It's going to be its own unique thing. So don't try to enforce or feel worried if you can't enforce, or feel like betrayed if it's not adhering to what a book said it's going to do. Just basically, trust, like step back. You've already stepped back and you're going to trust what's coming up. You're already seeing it coming up at this stage. So just like let it come up. And what this is, and then just basically be open to that. And if you start to falter, connect with whatever the divine is for you, and then that'll help you. What your final step on this particular spread is Lagos reversed. Lagos is the rune of emotion, intuition, heart, and flow. It's the rune of the water. And reversed, number of things. Basically, there is a sense of, I really want to get some more runes down on this. So give me just a sec. Yes. Let me just add this. Maybe we'll do like extras for all of them if we get to this. Nice. Okay, that's what I wanted to see anyway. Okay, better. After the countouts, after you're watching the things come up, you're going to have a moment where you're going to feel like things aren't flowing maybe, or you're going to feel like some unpleasant emotions coming up, or you're going to feel like, I want to bring in the other things about like intuition and heart and dreams and things, but it seems along this path line, it's kind of like you're going to worry because it's going to be coming up, but it's going to be like you're going to worry in this step. So what helps you is just connect with the source energy, or like give it sunlight if you're like actually growing something, but give it the equivalent of sunlight. If you start to worry about it, the things that will help it, because you did them all this time. So maybe water, maybe it needs water. Maybe it needs a little bit more at that stage. So give it water, give it sunlight, give it what it needs to, and like no more than that. Let it continue naturally, because it looks like it's looking like it's faltering in this stage after it starts. So just tend it the way that you did before, and that'll give it that extra little boost. What won't help you at that stage is worrying about how long it's taking, worrying about, the steps, worrying, have you missed any steps? It's like, you know what to do. You know how you're taking care of this. Yes, it's going to take a long time, but things like that always do. Just bring yourself back up to giving it the source energy, giving it, what it needs, sunlight and water, the equivalent if it's not actually a plant. And what this will all lead you to is a harvest. We have the harvest rune, which is Yira. It's the rune of the harvest and also time. So it's like it will come to fruition. Everything you did will come to fruition. There will be a moment of where it looks like it's faltering, and you will know how to deal with that. You will be able to give it what it needs. And then, ta-da, fruition. So there you go. That is your reading, sheep number 1 people, for the stirring of the seeds. I wish you all the best with this, and I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye. Hello, sheep number two people. I'm going to move the sheep number 2 over here. It's the sheep and blackberry. It's devotion. So those of you who chose this sheep probably have something that you are nurturing into being. It is still in the seed stage, but you are very, very much nurturing this and with absolute devotion to it. You're very, very loyal and faithful to it, and you're taking care of it as you bring it through. And that's very wonderful and exciting, and let's get some runes down. So I'm going to lay out the entire reading. We may have to go into overtime on it. I had to go into overtime on the one I just did, so that was interesting. So we're leaving that open. That might happen. If not, then it'll be complete as it is. Ta-da! But anyway, we're going to lay all these out. I'm going to give you a half rack reading. Half rack is a joke on, it's the half of the Futhark, pretty much. It's a play on the whole Andrimnir, Sarimnir, Eldrimnir thing, like a half rack of ribs. But that's what I'm giving you. So I'm going to lay the whole thing out. Outcome. Very nice. Your central issue, sheep number 2 people, is we have Yira, which is the rune of the harvest. This is the rune of the harvest and also time. So you're very, very focused on the present moment, even though it may not come through just yet. You're very, very focused on this, and you're actually already seeing the fruits of your labors even as you're working on it now. Even though this isn't the spring yet, even in this stage where you're nurturing the seeds and the seeds are beginning to stir, you are counting that as fruits of your labor. Like it's already happening. You're already seeing it become. Leading up to this, we have Raidho reversed. Raidho is the rune of the journey. This is your life's journey. However, in this case, it's reversed just before where we currently are. So it looks like a lot of prep you've just done has already been completed. You've just really wrapped up that chapter that you've already done for prep for getting this. So this, like, you've already got a lot of devotion involved with this. So now here we are in this moment where you feel like you are in a point of harvest on this, where you're actually already seeing the fruits of your labors on what you're doing. What is going to help you is we have Dagas, which is the rune of the breaking of the day. It's your entire field of vision illuminated. It's revelations. It's sometimes a bit overwhelming, but it's in the helping line, so it's not so much overwhelming. And it does suggest that you actually can take a step back and look at the big picture on this, and that's really going to help you. So give yourself that slight step back as this is coming through and make sure that you're seeing all of it. That's definitely going to help in this case where you're already getting the fruits of your labors on what you've been doing, because it is a harvest step, but it's not the complete thing, because it's still stirring of the seeds to a certain extent. What isn't going to help is fear of the unknown. We have the blank rune. This leads from Raidho reversed, where you already wrapped up a lot of the prep, and then you're worried about, what will happen. Like maybe you haven't been in this situation before with this particular project or this particular kind of project. And so you're like, I don't know what's going to happen in this case. I've got a trackless space. Things are a bit murky. I'm a bit worried, and just, wondering where, wondering where your God is in all of this. And it's like, there is that element of the divine with the blank rune. So it's this sort of questioning of, it's like, but this is where it is. So it's like, if you're worried about it, it's all manifesting here. Just step back and look at the whole thing. Like, look at the big picture of what's coming through right now and what's happening right now. And that's the revelation that you need. That's the illumination that you need. That's going to help you in this stage where things are already happening and you're already seeing the results of what you worked so hard on. Your next step on the path line, we have, and pinning the entire reading right in the middle, is Tivaz. Tivaz is Tyr's rune. Tyr's the warrior god, but he's not really. He's more like a king who just is a very, very good king. He's like the model of a good king, where he has to do with the balance and taking care of things that need to be taken care of, and duties and responsibilities, and very, very upright right in the middle. So definitely you will have, after this initial stage, a lot of work cut out for you. You are going to be like, every day I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to water. I'm going to have to weed. I'm going to have to do all these things for whatever this is that you're bringing through. But you're going to do it. You're totally into it. You're like absolutely devoted to this. And so what's pinning this entire thing is just this devotion to the duties and responsibilities that you have towards this. What is going to help is absolutely patience, taking things step by step, like don't try to do everything at once, and moving between worlds. Like just don't forget to integrate all aspects of who you are that keep you sane. But basically just take it step by step. It's the U tree, it's Ivaz, step by step. Patience. Be patient with yourself, be patient with the project, or whatever it is that you're nurturing and bringing through, and just take it step by step. Don't try to do it all at once. You have the time. It's a growing thing, so it's like you will have the time to water it, to give it light, to give it nourishment, to do it or sing to it, whatever you need to do to bring it through. And you are already on that. That's actually your whole middle step of this reading, is just the taking care of things that need to be taken care of. What won't help you? We have Berkana reversed. Berkana is the rune of the birch tree. It has to do with beginnings and birth. There is a worry about, here you are, when you finished all of the prep, and then you were worried about what is going to happen, and then you're worried about, what if it doesn't begin? Like, what if this beginning ends? Like, what if, all these questions about the beginning of it, and it's reversed down here. So it's kind of worries about it, the ending beginning before it can really begin, and just worries about the beginning becoming arrested in some way, not by police, but stopped, and maybe by police, depending on what you're doing. And please don't be doing anything illegal. Entertainment purposes only. So, so you're there's worries about the beginning that you're seeing, not continuing. Honestly, even with growing things, I had this one plant. I planted some peas, and I was really excited about the peas, and they grew to a certain point, and then they just rotted, and I was really sad about it. So this is worries, and it's a valid worry. These things can happen, but I get the sense that you've planted more than just one pea plant. So symbolically, even if it's not actually plants. So, but that's the thing. So that's going to worry you, that it'll look like it's going really well, and then all of a sudden not. If that starts to be the case, just bring yourself back up to, I am doing everything that I need to be doing. I am taking care of all the duties and responsibilities towards this. I am being patient. I am doing things step by step, and just, doing what I need to do. And so that's what's going to help you in this stage. Your next step on the path line, we have Fehu reversed. Fehu is the rune of wealth and worth. It's not necessarily money. It's cattle in the Elder Futhark. So it's whatever it is that whenever you tend to it, as long as you're taking care of it, will give you a sense of wealth and worth. It is reversed on the path line, and reversal of Fehu generally means self-esteem, self-worth, confidence, things like that. And so you are going to be feeling pretty confident in this. There is going to be a sense of inner worth tied to this, and you're definitely going to be feeling it in this stage. What is going to help you at that point? We have Algies, which is the rune of the elk, also known as the moose. This has to do with protection and support. You're going to feel very supported. And if you don't seek that, seek the support that you need at this point, because that's going to help maintain this sense of self-worth and confidence in what you're doing. Definitely. What isn't going to help is we have Uruz reversed. Uruz is the rune of the wild ox. This has to do with strength and health and stubbornness in terms of being able to stand up against, things that would require resistance. It is reversed on the lower line. So you may feel a few things. You may worry about not being strong enough to be as confident as you currently are at this stage. You may worry about something coming along and unseating you, to make you feel off balance, like somebody pulled the rug out from under you. You may feel you're worried about somebody, because you've been very strong up until this point, and then suddenly somebody is making you be a pushover, and it's really just worries. It's also just a thing. It's don't give up your strength. Even though you're looking for support is not a way. It doesn't mean that you're not strong. You are going strongly out and either seeking support or appreciating the support that you have, and that doesn't make you weak. So it doesn't take away your right to be confident about what you're doing. So if that starts to happen, just bring yourself back up to, you know what, I'm very supported, and if I am not feeling as supported as I would like to be, I'm going to look for support around me, and that's going to help me. Your outcome rune on this reading is Ansu's, which is the rune of communication, manifestation, and expression. And it looks like you have manifested what you've wanted to. Like, this is what you were all leading this to, what you were devoted to all this time. By the end of this path, you have manifested it. You are expressing it in the world. So that's really awesome. So that is your reading. Card number 2 people, sheep number 2 people. For the stirring of the seeds, I wish you all the best with this, and I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye. Hello, sheep number 3 people. So we have the Harvest Mother watches over me. So it's very much a sense of, for those of you who chose this card, a sense of abundance always being at hand. The opposite of lack mindset, basically. The abundance mindset that you are being, somehow the universe is helping to basically maintain like your connection to abundance. And this sheep has so much milk, and this is a really big card. But anyway, this sheep is like lots of milk. So we've got a lot of that, and just that's like absolute abundance and nurturing and all that good stuff. So there's something about that where not only are you bringing something through, but you're trusting the universe to support you in that. So let's get some runes down on this. I'm going to lay down the entire reading. I'm doing a half rack, which is about 11 runes. It's half the Futhark, basically. So I may have to lay them down a little bit tighter because there's not much room after the giant length of this card. But that's okay. It's huge. It's seriously, it's such a huge card. Like, if I was in a meeting hall, I could hold it up and people could see it at the back. No, it's not that big. But it's big. It's much bigger than the other cards that I have today. Okay, that's the blank rune. Your central issue, sheep number 3 people, is Dagas. Dagas is the rune of the breaking of the day. This has to do with full illumination, illumination of your entire field of vision, revelations, some overwhelm sometimes, but it's the breaking of the day. It's the dawn. It's the light coming in and just like blazing through and illuminating all the dark spaces, and it's just like absolute breakthroughs. So right now you're still in the stirring of the seeds stage, but this is like a huge critical part of it. It's like you are seeing what you've been waiting for, which is the seeds beginning to awaken. And that's huge. Leading up to this, there was a long time when they weren't. They were still. We have Isa, which is the rune of ice. This is still standstill, stillness. The stillness, but it's the stillness through which clarity comes. But it's so there was like almost a living stillness, and it like with anticipation and stuff. And you were watching them for a very long time, this stillness, and now suddenly in this moment, at the moment of the stirring of the seeds, it's like this huge breakthrough. It's like this is coming through. This is absolutely coming through, and it really will make you. It really makes you feel a connection to whatever the divine is for you. That's like where something is watching over this. There's a deep magic that is connected to the stirring of seeds, and it's incredible, this life force drive magic. What is going to help you? We have Gabo, which is the rune of the gift. This always is an exchange. It has to do with agreements, decisions, goals, and plans, and also sometimes one-on-one interactions. So maybe you're talking to the seeds as well, whatever the seeds are. But basically, keep to your plan. Like, keep to your agreements, decisions, plans, and goals. Now, this was a goal satisfied as well. So that's something that helps you immediately. It's like, wow, I've got it to this point, and I can see them stirring, and it's a huge breakthrough. So, like, check that off. I have accomplished that. That's really, really great. But keep to your plan. You got this far by following your plan. And so continue with your plan and continue to make plans as necessary, because that's what's helping you. And talk with somebody that you trust about it if you need to. But that's basically what's going to help you at this stage. What isn't going to help you is we have Algi's, not even reversed. We have Algi's, the rune of the elk, which is also known as the moose. And this has to do with protection and support. It's a very positive rune in a negative spot. And so it's usually a worry about that thing. You're worried about support. You waited a long, long time, and then all of a sudden here it is, and you're like, oh my God, what do I do? Who can help me with this? But again, if you start to worry about that, first of all, you've carried this up until this point. So congratulations and well done you. However, If you have a sudden panic moment once things actually start moving, bring yourself back up to Gabo, which is basically, no, you know what? Yes, I'm panicking, but I'm just going to look at my plans. That's carried me so far this well. And that's carried me well this far. And if I really feel panicky, I can call a friend. I can call somebody that I trust on the matter, and we can somehow connect with this other person in a one-on-one basis. And then that will help me. So your next step on the path line and pinning the entire reading in the middle is Hagalaz. Hagalaz is the rune of the hailstorm. I often read this as chaos and things that are out of our control, and it sometimes is a negative thing. In this case, it is not. It is letting nature happen, and it is chaos, and it is things that are out of your control. But now that things have started to stir, you're just going to let it happen. It can be a bit scary because you have no control over it at this point, but you're going to watch it, you're going to stand by, and you're going to feed it with your joy, because we have Vunyo, which is the rune of joy, which is helping you. So focus on the joy, let your joy guide you, and let your joy lead you, and feed this joy. Like, as you see it developing and becoming in its natural way that nothing else can do, give it your joy, because that's the best thing. And allow yourself to feel joy about it, because it's exciting. It's like real magic. It's like growing things, and it's exciting. Even if this isn't actually seeds that we're talking about, like if we're talking about like something that you're creating perhaps, or something that you're bringing into being, the same sort of thing is going to happen. There's going to be a point where it starts to create itself. And then you just basically let yourself be happy about this. Let yourself be joyous about this, because this is exciting. Feed it with your continuing joy. What isn't going to help is we have Rilo reversed. So there may be a sense, and it's based on how scary it is when things are out of your control, that now that it's picked up speed, you don't have control over it and you want to slam on the brakes. We have Rilo reversed. It's the rune of riding. It's basically the journey rune. It's reversed on the lower line. So it's basically saying, do not grind this to a halt at this stage. It is going strong. It's very exciting. It may be a bit scary because it's out of your control. It's a living thing, whatever it is, in its way, and it's going to be doing things that you may not expect, and that because it's alive, and even if it's not something that you would consider alive, it has a life to it, and so that could be a bit scary, and you may feel like, wait, nope, this is scary. This is not it's not in my plans. Please don't do that. Just enjoy it. It's taken over its growth, and like feed it with joy. Like, be joyous about it. It's exciting. It's magic. Your next step on the path line, we have Thurizaz reversed. Thurizaz is the rune of the thorn, the giant, the gateway. It is the challenge rune. When it is upright, it is a open door challenge where all you really need to do is psych yourself up to get through it. But when it is reversed, it's a very difficult challenge. It's something that feels almost impossible. So I'm going to read this a couple ways. First of all, there may be a point where, you might have to weed it, and maybe it has thorns. Maybe it literally has thorns. But anyway, there's a point where it's going to become a challenge, and you're going to face this, and you're going to go, this is hard. I don't know how to get past this or around this. What is going to help you? We have Laguz reversed. Laguz is the rune of the water. It's emotion, intuition, heart, and flow. What this is saying is several things. What this is saying is, first of all, surf negative emotions. Acknowledge your negative emotions, your unpleasant emotions, but let them flow as water. Like, let them flow as weather, and let them go by. Secondly, look to your intuition. Seek your deep inner heart. All the things that you need to do to get past this moment, because otherwise things are going to get, it's going to feel like things are getting out of hand, basically. We have, and this is basically the whole reason that you wanted to slam on the brakes in the last line. What isn't helping is we have Kaunaz, which is the rune of the torch or the fire. It's something that has to do with something that starts small like an ember and goes into a blaze. It's expansion, it's opening out, it's going to feel like things are getting out of hand. And this is all because, if you look at the lower line, we've got, you're worried about support, you're trying to stop because things are out of your control, and then you're worried that that's going to get out of hand. It's a moment with where it becomes something that maybe it's strange to you because it has grown without you, and it's looking like you can't access it anymore to a certain extent. But you just have to go a little deeper and trust your heart on it. I know that sounds cliche. I'm going to get a couple more runes on this line because I think this is important. Ooh, interesting. Yeah, the beginning is over, first of all. So what's helping you is connect with your deep inner heart, surf negative emotions, connect with your intuition, because you're going to find that the beginning part is over. We have Berkana reversed, which is the birch tree. This is beginnings and birth. It is no longer of you, which is another thing about it. It's something that has become itself, and this is no longer of you. Like, so you're not, you did a whole bunch of work like nourishing it and bringing it into being, but then once it started to become itself, it's itself. It's not you anymore, and acknowledging that is going to help you a lot. And it's going to be like a way that you can let it become and be, even if it's something that you didn't expect, even if it's something that looks strange to you. Now, you are worried about it. Again, what isn't going to help is that it feels like it's out of your hand, like it's gone out of hand. Yes, it has, because it's its own thing now. But this can make you feel like giving up. This can make you feel like disarmed. But that's not going to help you. Just bring yourself back up to just like, no, this is part of the process. We nourish the seeds, we nurture them, and then they become. And sometimes what they become is no longer going to be of you by the end of it. You're not going to recognize it anymore, but you brought it through, and it's a magic in the world, and it's a good thing. So perhaps at that point is when you can actually let it go and start fresh, which is what not let it go like, oh, well, the heck with that, but like release it into the world, because that was the point, that you brought this thing through. You nurtured it and you nourished it and you brought it through, and it became its own thing, and you saw that with joy. You've continued to feed it with joy, and on it went. And yes, it became something that felt strange to you, but that's fine, because you brought it into the world to be in the world, and you can still look to that and say, I did this. This is good. It's not a bad thing. It's like, this is life. So ultimately what happens after that point, once you get over that moment, which is going to be a bit tricky for you emotionally, is you have the blank rune. So it's like, okay, now what do I have? It's all new, it's brand new, and it feels like a blank page, where it's like, okay, now what can I do? Now I'm freed up. My energy is freed up. I can use it for anything at this point. Wow. Sheep number 3 people, that was something. So there you go, sheep number 3 people. That is your reading for the stirring of the seeds. I wish you all the best with this, and I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye. Hello, sheep number 4 people. Welcome. I'm going to move the sheep over here. This is the sheep of the stars, which is basically the star. So it's guidance. It's something where you are being guided to bring this through. You're nurturing the seeds now, and you're allowing yourself to be guided in how you're going to nurture this and how you're going to allow these seeds to become. But right now, you're in the stirring of the seeds stage. I'm going to put some runes down. It's going to be a half rack reading, and that's in theory. However, this is the second time I've seen that in that spot. It may be more than a half rack. We'll see. Oh, that as well. That's really cool. Oh my gosh. I do mix these between readings. That's pretty wild. I haven't seen Lagu's upright this session, which is interesting. So I'm going to put the whole reading down to start with, leaving it open in case we need more, but we'll see what we get. Hagalas. Okay, and finally, nice. Your central issue, sheep number 4 people, is Yira, which is the rune of the harvest and also time. So you're actually already seeing the fruits of your labors on this. So it looks like you've done a lot of work. A lot of it's been very guided, where you've actually been allowing the project itself to guide you, but allowing yourself to be guided in it. And a lot of your wishes are sort of tied up in this as well, so say the stars. Leading up to this, we have Isa. Isa is the rune of ice. This is the rune of stillness and standstill. So it looks like things weren't stirring for a long time, and they weren't. but then they have. So it's like suddenly, it's like nothing, suddenly something. And that's where we're at this point, where you are actually seeing the stirring of the seeds. And it's very, very exciting. Like you're finally seeing that shoot of green coming up. And it's like, this is the fruits of my labors. This is all this work that I've put into it. And waiting and trusting for the clarity to come through on this. And then it has, like, this is really exciting, like the fruits of your labors. What is going to help you the most in this point is just be silent, listen to inner communication. This is going to be huge. We have Ansu's reversed. Ansu's is the rune of communication and manifestation and expression, but it is reversed on the helping line. So it's like inner communication. So whatever, with your higher self or your inner voice or your guardians, guides, angels, anybody that you talk to inwardly. But yeah, have your inner communication going on, because you don't want to interrupt this, but you do want to bounce this off of another thinkingness. So, but also, listening, paying attention to this, like listening to this, like being silent in terms of not over talking this, like, not telling it what it is, like just letting this happen at this point. What is not going to help you? Sorry, I had to check a thing. What is not going to help you? We have Lagus reversed. Lagus is the rune of the water. It has to do with emotion, intuition, heart, and flow. It is reversed on the lower line, so there may be some unpleasant emotions associated with this. You may feel like things are not flowing the way that you want them to. Also, don't stop watering the thing. Like, this is obviously, there's a lot of water involved, whatever water is for you in this scenario. So whatever it was that you were doing, like what this sheep is doing, guided by the stars, keep doing that. Like, don't stop because it started because it was in that environment and it was thriving. So keep doing that, what you were doing while this is going on. Like, don't stop. But still have that extra element of that you are communicating inwardly about this, and that you are paying attention and you are listening and watching this happen, because this is a huge moment. Your central rune of the spread and pinning the entire reading, your next step on the path line, is Railo reversed. And this is the journey rune. Reversed on the path line, it's basically the end of a chapter of your journey. So maybe this is the end of the beginning of this, because now that you've seen it come through the earth, you can say, okay, now I can stop doing what I was doing up until this point. Like, I consider this the stage where I was raising the thing to be complete. And this could be like spring kind of thing. Like, if this is Imbolc, if this is like Groundhog Day, then midwinter thing, then your next step really would be spring, and you'd be like, okay, I can actually end this chapter. I don't have to nurture it quite so much. It's getting what it needs from the outside. And then you can basically stand back. What's going to help you is we have Uruz, which is the rune of the wild ox. This has to do with strength and health and resistance. And so you can actually become the protector of the thing rather than so nurturing, as far as just like pouring the water on all the time. I think you probably should still let it be, making sure that it's having water, but to be more of a protector of the thing, where you're shifting to where it's like you're just going to stand guard of it, what you're bringing through. And you can be very strong about that. It's like the musk oxen, where they actually form a circle around the more vulnerable members of the herd, and they're very, very strong. What isn't going to help you is we have Thurizaz reversed. Thurizaz is the rune of the thorn, the giant, the gateway, and this has to do with challenges. When it's reversed, it's basically a very difficult challenge. So you may feel like at this stage where you're stepping back from the previous part of the journey and you're just assuming a protective role. It may feel like a lot. It may feel like this is really hard. This is hard for me. I've done this up until this point, but it's not a baby anymore, so I can let it be. But it's scary because here I am being its protector, but it's like, does it need anything? I don't want to smother it. So it's tricky, and there's inner challenges for you on this that might drag you down. I mean, definitely deal with them, but don't let them drag you down. Just bring yourself back up to, it's like, no, this is my new role where I'm going to be the protector over this thing that I've brought through. Your next step on the path line is Hagalaz, which is the rune of the hailstorm. And this is things that are out of your control. This is chaos. This is weather. And this is things being their true natures. Like, let nature happen. Like, once again, I had this on another reading in this set where it's like, it gets to a point where you are not the reason that the thing is growing anymore. It's becoming itself. And so let nature happen. Let it become. You brought it into the world, and this is wonderful, but let it become in the world. Like, let it take over and be out of your control, kind of thing, because it's reached that stage. What is going to help you is patience. We have Ivaz, which is the rune of the yew tree. This has to do with patience, slow growth, slow developments, taking things step by step, and moving between worlds. So you are sort of integrating the worlds of, when you were really deep caretaker with, like, okay, now is a different world where the thing is come into itself, and you're still sort of there for it, but it's becoming more and more itself. But be patient, take things step by step, and that's going to help you the most. What isn't going to help is we have Vunyo reversed, and I'm going to read this a couple ways. Vunyo is the rune of joy. In the lower line, it's reversed. So it's like you're going to worry about being unhappy. Maybe your unhappiness is going to be something that you're going to need to address. Please don't not address it, but also don't let it drag you down completely. Like, address it, be patient with it, but don't just, fixate on it and let it drag you down. You may be also obsessed with maybe this is unhappy, because these have a similar color. The two runes here, they have like a little bit of darkness on them. So you may be worried, it's like, but if I'm not there, will it be unhappy? I want to make sure that I'm making it happy. And the thing is, it's itself now. It's doing its own thing. If it has, if you're seeing clouds in it, that's something it has to deal with. That's it. You can help a little, whatever you can shout from your path like you would from anybody else, but for anybody else's unhappiness. But you can, they are more and more themselves, and you have to be patient about that. So either of those worries about unhappiness, whether yours or its, could drag you down. Bring yourself back up, if that's the case, to where you are being patient. You're taking things step by step, and you're basically allowing yourself to move between worlds while this develops. The next step after that is Gebo. Gebo is the rune of the gift. This always is an exchange. It has to do with agreements, decisions, goals, and plans. The fact that this is at the end of the path line of this particular spread says to me that this is completion. This is like, I did it. I did this thing. I worked hard on it, and it's done now. Maybe this has moved off now into its own life. Either way, your part in it has completed. You have succeeded. You have completed this plan, this goal, and you've done it. You may also now be interacting with it on almost an equal level, which is exciting, because Gebo is also one-on-one interactions. But either way, it's a completion. You had this goal, and you have completed it by the end of this point. So that's exciting. So that's your reading, sheep number 4 people, for Stirring of the Seeds. I wish you all the best with this, and I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye.